All right, Doug, you just got done walking the show jumping course, and you said it looks pretty technical as usual, so let's go through the fences and get your thoughts on everything.
I think Richard Jeffries has designed here a challenging course, and it's going to be a very exciting competition. Everybody's so packed in close that the technical aspects of this course, I think, are going to separate the very best from the not so much. Our first fence, well, actually, let's start off. If you pan out, all these stands, complete sellout crowd today, so everything's going to be completely packed. The horses that are ultimately a little bit greener, mine, and if I were riding this, right, I would be coming into the in-gate, which you can see right below us, and I would head right along the edge of the wall. Fence 3, where it says Kentucky Burley Badminton, I think is going to be a huge challenge because it's very early in the course when we get to it, but it's also jumping right into the crowd. So I'm thinking when I get into this stadium, I want to get my horses used to that stuff as possible. So that'd be my sort of entrance plan. Then come around, we can get actually going into the course. The first fence is it's a stone oxer. You got it zoomed in on that, perfect. Stone oxer there. It's a basically I think a steady 7 strides down to the FEI purple and white vertical there. I think it's a good introduction. It's I don't think it's going to cause a whole bunch of trouble, but so you're going to see the odd rail. I would think, with horses not really being completely focused. Wrapping around after 2, going to 3. 3 I think is absolutely sort of a bogey fence. It is a challenge because you're going directly right into the crowd. It's the first time the horses are going to be jumping into the crowd, so I think as a rider you're coming up to that fence thinking you really need to actually support them a touch and do your best to ideally keep them off of that, right? Almost get your takeoff distance a hair longer and just again support them off the ground so they don't make them a careless mistake there. We land to go right up the center there. You've got an oxer in the middle, the man of war. I don't think there's anything terribly significant about it. It shouldn't cause too much trouble in this course here today. Continuing on up into the left, you have the mountain fence there. It's a pretty significant, very solid triple bar. I wouldn't expect to see many rails at the triple bar itself, but what that's doing there, Richard has done a very good job here. It invites the horses, right? They just ran around the cross-country course yesterday. It's almost like a sort of flashback thing, right? They're going to end up coming at this fence a little bit gung-ho, and they're going to tend to jump with their trajectory, or the flight path they have in the air. They're going to tend to be a little bit flatter, and they're going to land a little on the forehand and going. And it works out, I think, to just about a normal 6 strides from there to the first vertical going into the paddock. The paddock there is 4 strides, and I feel like that's probably going to end up being a little bit steady. So you're going to see riders ideally jumping the triple bar, getting a nice round jump if possible. You want to get right up to the base of it. Nice round jump, so then that 6 strides can be very, very measured, jumping into the first, and again, just a little bit of support so that you get a good jump coming out. Again, you are facing the crowds as you're coming there. Roll back here to number 8. I would expect to see a fair number of rails here. If you're rolling back, you're going away from the in-gate here. There's also a Liverpool underneath. It's different than the ones that most horses here would have seen. Generally, you'll see them maybe in the straight jumper shows, but in general, the event horses here, they see a normal sort of Liverpool that has a foam square in the front so that the horses can see it. That's going to actually come up a little bit as a last second sort of glance at it, and there's actually water in it, as you can see the reflection there. So I would expect you're going to see a few horses knock that. 5 strides, again, normal sort of distance, 5 strides to the oxer with the tobacco on there. Again, I think that's a normal distance, 1 stride coming out of it. After that, you've got another fence that I think you'll see the odd rail, is that just behind it there's a riverboat. Probably the widest oxer on this course. You're going to want to come with a tiny bit of pace and see if you can't get a decent jump that's going to produce a good shape and a clear effort there. Wrapping around, I think the clever thing Richard did do here was that the 3rd fence gives you an introduction what it's like to jump into the crowd. Now you're going to have a bigger test of the triple combination coming into the crowd. You've got a 1 to a 2 stride there. You're going to see some rails fall there for sure. Rolling right after the triple, it's 8 strides to the 2 spires there. Generally they jump that pretty well, and you might see at this point, especially somebody in the upper place, you might see nerves start to take a little bit of a toll here. Again, it should probably be an 8 stride. You might see somebody do 9 or potentially a little bit more, but I think 8 is the right number. jumping that over that to the Rolex, which would be our last fence. It's a very decent distance, 6 strides, not terribly long or short, but again, when the nerves get the best of them, we're only going to have to wait and see. But I think it looks like a challenging course and one that's going to separate the field from the very best to the ones, again, that probably could use some polishing. So excited to see what will happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug.